This is Boyd.
This is Levi.
We're the Cruise Bros.
All right, so today, Boyd, we are going to be talking about your very first cruise.
Yes, sir.
Which, for Boyd, was on the Carnival Elation. And he went out in that in 2022. And from this point, I'm going to go ahead and lead it over to Boyd. I'm going to ask him a series of questions, let him go ahead and carry us through the things that he observed on the cruise, some of the things, fun things, maybe not so fun things, just things that him and his wife were on the cruise doing, things they observed as a first-time cruiser in 2022. And as we carry on further with these things with each other, you're going to see a little back and forth interviews so you guys can get to know us and the cruise we took. So today, again, we're going to work on Carnival Elation 2022, Boyd's first cruise with his wife. And from there, let's see how this adventure went for them in 2022. Sound like a good idea?
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. So right here, what we're going to do is I'm going to start off with Boyd with asking him, what year did this Carnival Elation first set sail?
Well, Carnival Elation is the oldest ship on the fleet. It is the fantasy class. It started sailing in 1998. That was the inaugural sailing.
And we were youngsters back then, almost out of high school.
Oh, yeah. We were still in high school then.
Yeah.
But that ship, it has gone through dry dock not too long ago. It had some refresh done, paint job and whatnot. So she's already been sailing again.
Something I did find out, though, to cut that one in there, is they are constantly painting these boats throughout every cruise. It seems like they're doing touch-up work on all these. So when they do dry dock, what are they actually doing at dry dock? Maybe some variations of things that some folks don't know.
Well, they recently, I know, did a dry dock on Mardi Gras, which I did sell Mardi Gras back a few weeks ago. They changed the pool liners, made some changes on the pools, made some changes in the casino. They added new deck chairs. They put a lot of new chairs on the deck. They had some steps that they took out near the casino. A lot of stuff like that they do. They repaint everything.
That was on the Carnival what?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. Okay, so right. To get back to Elation though, so it dry docked when the last time? Do you remember?
I don't remember the dry dock, but it's been within the last year.
Okay, yeah. So it's every so often that they do these dry docks. It's scheduled maintenance, so it's things that just must be done, right?
Correct.
Right. And most importantly, this is for your safety too, because I think sometimes that's a big worry for folks is how often do these ships get worked on? Do things happen to them that we don't hear about as cruisers? And some of the behind the scenes stuff that you don't. But then you got guys like me and Boyd that we're totally intuitive and we want to know things like this. So we dive into that. And so when we're on these boats, we actually go around and we talk to some of the workers, actually more than we talk to some of the actual cruisers on there, because not only are they most of them from foreign countries, so you get an experience in that, but you also get the experience of what do you do, Mr. Maintenance Man, or what do you do, Miss Cook, or whatever their job is. So we learn a lot on these cruises with these guys, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of nice because they're out on these boats for quite a long time and they see a bunch of different faces. And I think sometimes they get hidden in the background, it's just they're that worker that works there. But I want to know. I like people, and I want to know what's your life been like? What brought them to this thing? So anyway, back to Elation here. So what port does Elation sail out of, Boyd?
Well, Elation, we went out of Port Canaveral back in 2022. And currently, Elation sails out of Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
Of course, Port Canaveral is Florida also. Me and Levi does have a cruise coming up on Elation in May. Yep. So I know I'm talking about my first cruise now, but we're going to have a whole lot of information coming from Elation. We're going to get on the ship and have a good time. And once we'll have some more information and video for you.
Right. We're gonna have some further reviews with that too, because now you're gonna have two of us. And 2022 to now, that's 4 years difference. So that's a big difference in the years. So you might actually see something on this boat that you didn't know that's been changed. Since the last trip. Along our journey, when we do these kind of things, we love to take pictures, obviously. And now with this YouTube channel here, and by the way, please subscribe if you like what the content is you're seeing here. But to carry on with it, we're also going to be taking videos and things on these boats boats so that we can see the day-to-day motions and stuff that go along on there. So what do you think about that, Boyd?
Oh, I think that's awesome, man.
All right, Boyd. I'm going to ask you a question here about this fantasy class ship. So I've only cruised 3 times. I've cruised on the Valor twice, and I've cruised on the Liberty just recently, back in February. You had mentioned that this is a fantasy class ship. Can you tell me and our viewers what a fantasy class ship is?
Well, I know there. I don't know. Elation may be the only one sailing in the fantasy class, but I mean, it is a smaller ship. Fantasy class. This ship is 855 feet long. Has about 900 onboard crew members, and the guests it can hold about 2,190 guests.
2,190 on the smallest ship that exists.
That's it.
Plus 900, you said, of
Right.
onboard employees.
Crew.
Wow.
They make it happen for us. They we're in the dining room, and when you're eating at the buffet, they clean up they take your plates, and they're nice to you, and people are there to help you in any need you can.
That's right, and not just the staff that we see up front that are there to help you, but you also got to remember on these ships, and you can tell me because we've seen it. There's medical staff on there, and these are things that we're going to talk about in the future. There's also security on these boats. Whether you see that and recognize it, there is security. And in some cases on these ships, there's also an onboard jail that's on there. Some cases when people do get in trouble, things can happen. They're confined to their rooms, is what I heard. I saw several videos. Well, one guy I think did a jokingly video about it, but he took a whole tray of cookies from the buffet instead of just taking, just a few of them, putting them on a plate and going to his room. He took the whole thing, and he said that he was confined in his room for 2 of the 7 days that he was on the cruise.
Wow.
And they brought him meals and things like that. So could be true, could not be true. I don't know. I didn't experience it because, as wild as I used to be, I'm not playing that game, man. Not on these boats, man. That's too far away from home to get in trouble, right? So.
And on my last cruise, I did talk to security people. They were outside the nightclub, and I don't go in the nightclub myself. I just walk by it.
Right.
But they were really nice people.
Yep.
That was interesting to talk to people.
All right, so Boyd, I think what we're going to talk about next is, and I want to ask you some questions about this because I think this is the question of questions for most people here is, what are some of the top things to do on this specific ship that you remember from 2022?
Well, from 2022, I do remember the casino. I really didn't play in the casino then on that cruise. See, I do now a little bit, but not on that cruise. I mean, they have comedy clubs. I've been to the comedy show once or twice. They have live stage shows. They're amazing.
Oh man, listen, the live stage shows are the best. Do you remember my first cruise when you guys volunteered me to go up on stage in front of everybody?
Yeah.
I was going to do it today for this video, but I'm going to save it for another day. They actually gave me a medal for coming up on stage. So anyway, not to interrupt you on that, but yeah, they do take volunteers in these shows. It's not scripted in most cases, so they will bring people up on stage. So go ahead and carry on, boy.
Well, most Carnival ships, they have a Serenity deck, adults only. That was really nice to go to the Serenity deck. They do have on Elation. They have one pool. It's in the center of the ship, and I mean it is a smaller ship, so it's a smaller pool.
Right. It's going to be a little bit more family oriented rather than you getting that private Serenity deck. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of what I remember. The Elation doesn't have a screen on the deck like other ships.
Oh yeah, so no movies, no nighttime movies. Yeah.
No nighttime movies there. But other than that, man, it's a great little small ship. You can get to know more people on that ship and get to. It's just a different type of atmosphere than one of the big ships.
A little bit more personal then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. As before on some of these bigger ships, if you take a 5-day cruise, 7-day cruise, something like that, I think you could probably spend your first few days on those boats trying to explore and get to know, the boat by itself. And then you're going to bump into people along the way and talk to each other. And this does seem to be something that is a true thing. I think it, and I believe it myself, is at some point you're going to meet at least one person, probably on your first day. And for some reason, you're going to see that person throughout the cruise. Not anywhere they don't room next to you. They probably don't eat next to you, things like that. But every time you're going to do something one way or another, it's like, oh, there's so and so from Joplin, Missouri, or whatever the case is. You know, it always just
Oh
seems
yeah,
to be that way.
yeah, yeah. And one thing with I know we're talking about elation, but I just went on Mardi Gras too. And we'll have more about Mardi Gras later, weeks to come. But it is so big and so wide. You really don't see the same people. You really don't have, unless you try to go somewhere where you see the same people and talk with them. You just don't.
Right.
It's several. It's like a football field, 300 feet longer than most ships. It's about 400 plus feet ventilation longer.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So that thing's huge compared
oh
to the
yeah,
Elation. But I'm
oh
gonna
yeah,
tell you something though. I think for a first time cruiser, a boat like the Elation might be a good thing
oh
for
yeah,
them, though. I mean, because it's
wonderful,
smaller and they don't have to be scared. Because that's a lot of things that people get
correct.
nervous about is the size of these ships. You know, we had already said, you know, people are worried about what could happen on a boat, and there's always the what is, the pre-trip what is, the during what is, the
Yeah.
once I get home what is. And we're going to talk to you about some of those to try to help ease your mind as we go along with these videos further
Oh
and
yeah.
further. But I do believe that maybe a boat like the Elation, if you're a first time cruiser and you don't mind going to Florida, it's probably a great boat for somebody to start off with. So,
Oh yeah, and we'll have more about Jacksonville Port. Jacksonville Port is pretty easy and laid back.
yeah.
So we'll have more in the weeks after our.
All right. So now we're going to go into one of my favorite things. I mentioned this the other day in our video. One of my favorite things is food. I like to ask questions about food. I'm sure you're worried about food. What are we going to eat on deck? What are some of the places that are on the boat that you can go to? So I'm going to let Boyd explain. Just name a few for me of the places you can actually eat on the boat that aren't just the main dining room or just the buffet.
Right,
So
right. I got you. Yeah, he likes to eat. Let me tell you that.
I was 345 pounds a couple of years ago. So I've lost it way down now. I'm around 200 pounds. So anyway, let's talk about not me, but the food on board.
Right. Well, Guy's Burger Joint. Let's start out with it. Now, it's really great. I mean, their fries are great, and look, it's included. All this stuff is included with the ship that I'm talking about. So you can get a single burger, you can get a triple burger, and with any topping you want on it. And if you want to continue going back and get burgers, that's all you.
It's
You
almost
can
like
get
a
as many as you
buffet of
want.
burgers.
Oh yeah, definitely. Of course, we got the main dining room. Of course, it's you go sit down, have get food every night. They wait on you.
Right.
You get that's pretty good too.
That's where you get real personal with your wait staff though, because
Right, right,
I was kind of elated by the fact that the first time they come up and introduced themselves, they knew all our names, but it stayed the whole time we were on the cruise. My very first cruise, I was enamored by the fact that they remembered us every day. They
oh yeah,
remembered our
oh
drinks.
yeah,
They knew what everybody wanted. So if you were a person that didn't vary much, they knew it. And even on our last cruise, my buddy Denny that we talked about in the last video, he drinks Dr. Pepper. That's like a big thing for him. And after the first night, every night when we got there, everybody already had their tea or their water, and there was always that soda that was sitting there
right,
waiting for him to
yeah.
get there. So anyway, on to the next one. Besides the guys' burgers in the main dining room, what's next that you know of?
Oh, the Blue Laguana Cantina. They have tacos and burritos. It's kind of like a Mexican place, you say,
Right,
but you
right.
can get what you want, the toppings you want. It's all included.
And if you're like my wife had to have a major surgery done a year ago, and it changed her dynamic of eating, and we really didn't understand what restrictions were that much. Although I've got a background in food safety, I really didn't understand. Like my wife now has a full gluten allergy; she can't eat gluten at all anymore. And so at the same type of cantina that was on the Liberty, she found out that you don't have to have that in a wrap anymore as far as a burrito or taco. They
Right.
actually make it in like a bowl.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so they've opened up and expanded as far as that goes, so that everybody can eat there.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Now let's talk about the one place that and the one thing, especially if you're a kid. What's this one, man? I've been waiting for you to say this the whole time. Tell our folks what's one of the good ones, man, that's on this boat. Tell me.
Pizza.
Pizza.
Yes. You can get pizza It's not 24 hours no more like
Yeah.
it used to be. I
Yeah.
think 2 o'clock in the morning you can get a pizza. Like, you get hungry, pizza place is probably the only place open.
Hey, listen, it's good for them after hours folks too. Those of you that like to go to that club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or if you're
Which,
just a late night snacker.
yep. Before you go to bed, you can have a pizza.
That's right. That's right. Tell us about something else, though. There is something else that I experienced on that. Since it's not 24-hour buffet and stuff anymore, there is a part of the buffet that they open up. And tell our fans about what that is. For the first timers,
Right.
what is?
Oh yeah, Levi. We were talking. You were talking about the late night snack.
Yeah.
They started it back a few years ago, and from like 12 to 2, they have like snacks. I think they had like fries and
I
just
saw a lot
snack
of things on
things.
there when we were on ours. So hot dogs,
Oh yeah,
chicken fingers, just things that if you were at home and you're like, hey, I'm gonna put this in the air fryer and I'm gonna eat this, man. That way I can go to bed with a little bit of food on my stomach, good to go. So yeah, you're right, man. I noticed they had a little light dessert on there. It had some cookies,
right,
man, which
right.
those chocolate chip cookies. If you ain't never had them, man, if you're a chocolate chip
Oh,
cookie
chocolate
fan,
chip cookies are good.
yeah, that's right where it's at. They do offer also some other light desserts and things like that I saw in there, but mainly just snack food stuff, right?
Right. Yep.
All right, so Boyd, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you said that this was a little bit on your journey on there, but
Right.
tell me something. What significantly stood out to you? We know it was COVID, the issues on that. And Lord knows we all had to deal with it. It wasn't just a countrywide thing. This was a worldwide pandemic that went on.
Right.
So
Yep.
I think folks have all dealt with what COVID was, and everybody's going to have their varying opinions on it. So we get that. So what is something that really significantly stood out to you in this situation that really helped you guys remember this cruise, even though we were under those circumstances? Is there something particular that just stood out to you and made it go, I want to cruise again, even though this was rough, because I feel in my heart it's going to get better one day?
Yeah. I mean, look, I went with family. It was my wife, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and my niece and nephew. We all went on this cruise. It was a really good time. Um, and I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world, even though it was during COVID. Man, it was nice. I mean, you could sit outside without a mask and whatnot. But I mean, that I think that is the biggest thing, because we didn't get off at ports on this cruise. Well, we did get off at Half Moon Cay, and it was really nice. Carnival included food. It is a tender port, so you had to take a boat from the ship to the port, but you had free beach, free food. But I mean, again, I think family was the best thing, and being with family in the main dining room
Right, right.
like
So
that.
so it seems like because everybody was cooped up for so long per se,
Right.
getting to actually still get out and spend that time with your family, not knowing it, because a lot of people suffered tragedy and loss during
Oh
COVID.
yeah, definitely.
So getting out just by itself was enough, but really being able to just go out, enjoy it with them, not knowing, because I mean that's 2022 and things were kind of unforeseen for the future yet still, even though it had been a year and a half or so since COVID had
Oh
come
yeah.
through. So that's good. Then I'm glad that stood out to you guys the most. All right, Boyd. So I know we went into all that stuff, but here's the thing. I know you and I are both picture takers, man, and we had
Oh
already
yeah.
talked about this. We had
Oh
talked
yeah.
about videos and stuff, but how about sharing with our viewers some of the pictures from your very first cruise? Because I know the facial expressions are going to be different, and just the pictures. Every time you go somewhere and you take pictures, oh, I've already seen this, but something may have changed. It could have been a year,
Oh
it could have
yeah.
been 5 years since the
That's
next
right.
person. So, how about showing our viewers some pictures of your cruise from the Elation in 2022?
Yep. Here are the pictures on the screen now. hope you enjoyed the pictures.
Yeah, man, those were some cool pictures that you had up there, man. That was your first cruise, man, and it just brings me back to the memories of 2023 from mine with you and Michelle and my wife Gypsy when we did it on the Carnival Valor. That was a pretty rough year for me, just like you were saying, as far as the Elation in 2022.
Right,
you know,
right,
so I had
yeah.
experienced some tragic loss that year in our family. Well, before we go, I need you to remember something. Life's always better at sea.
We'll see you on the next adventure.